Captain Aaron Hale walked across the polished floors of the Lyran Council Hall, his boots echoing in the vast chamber. The room shimmered with soft lights that seemed to float in the air, casting gentle glows across walls that were impossibly smooth, like liquid metal frozen in time. The air smelled faintly of flowers, though no flowers could be seen. Everything about the place felt different from any human city Aaron had ever visited. He had fought in the war against the Sithari for nearly 5 years, leading human squads into battles on dozens of planets. The war had taken its toll, both on the galaxy and on him personally. Friends lost, planets destroyed, systems left in ruin. Yet now, standing in this alien council hall, Aaron realized he had survived more than he had ever imagined, and perhaps, just perhaps, there was a reward waiting at the end of it all. Lyran council members began to gather around him. Each Lyran was no taller than 8 inches, with delicate wings that glimmered in the ambient light. Their skin was translucent, showing faint traces of glowing veins beneath. Their eyes were large and expressive, reflecting intelligence and emotion in equal measure. The Lyran were small, yes, but the power of their knowledge and influence was immense. The council leader, a Lyran named Aria, floated in front of Aaron, her wings beating softly to keep her hovering. "Captain Hale," she said, her voice musical and precise, "you have done more for the galaxy than you may realize. You have protected countless lives and brought hope to many. For this, the Lyran Council wishes to honor you." Aaron inclined his head respectfully. "I did what I had to do. I only followed orders." Aria's eyes twinkled. "Orders, perhaps. But you also followed your courage, your honor, and your humanity. These qualities are rare, even among humans. It is for this reason that we offer you a gift, a companion who will aid you in the future." Aaron's brow furrowed. "A companion?" Aria nodded. "Yes, one of our own. She will travel with you, assist you, and ensure that the knowledge of the Lyran Council is not lost. She has requested this assignment herself, believing that your partnership could change the course of history." Before Aaron could respond, a soft hum filled the air. He looked down and saw a small figure approaching, a Lyran woman, her wings fluttering like a delicate butterfly's. She was tiny, no taller than his hand. Yet she carried herself with a confidence that made Aaron instinctively step back in respect. Her name was Lyra. She looked at him with wide, curious eyes, sparkling like liquid silver. Her voice was calm but firm. "Captain Hale," she said, "I am honored to be assigned to you. I have chosen this because I believe you can make a difference, and I will make sure my people's knowledge serves you well." Aaron knelt slightly to meet her gaze, his hand instinctively hovering near his chest. I don't know what to say. This is very unexpected." Lyra tilted her head, her wings flickering. "You don't need to say anything. Just accept that we are allies now. I am not a reward in the way humans think of gifts. I am a partner. I am here to help you and the galaxy." He nodded slowly. Somehow, her small presence carried more authority than many of the generals he had served under. He realized this was not just a gift, but a responsibility. The ceremony continued, with other council members bowing and offering their congratulations. They presented Aaron with a small medallion engraved with Lyran symbols, symbolizing trust, courage, and unity. It glimmered faintly, as if it had been imbued with energy. As the ceremony concluded, Aaron and Lyra moved toward the Starhawk, the ship he had commanded during the final battles of the Sithari War. The ship was sleek and fast, a combination of human engineering and alien technology recovered from old Lyran archives. Lyra floated beside him, examining every detail with intense curiosity. "This ship, it is magnificent," she whispered. I have studied starships before, but seeing one in motion, in life, it is something else entirely. Aran chuckled, the sound echoing in the corridor. You'll get used to it. It's nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. We've been through a lot, and it's carried me safely through all of it. Lyra's eyes flickered with light. Then it has served well, and now it will serve both of us. As they reached the main deck, the human crew stared in awe. Most had never seen a Lyran up close, let alone one assigned to their captain. Some whispered nervously, unsure how to interact with someone so small, yet so commanding. Lyra noticed the hesitation and smiled gently, fluttering closer to a crew member named Juno, who had been fidgeting nervously. "Hello," Lyra said softly. "I am here to work with all of you. Do not fear me. I am small, but I am on your side." Juno's eyes widened and she nodded quickly. I understand. Welcome aboard, Lyra." Aaron placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "She's going to help us all, crew. Treat her with the respect she deserves." As the Starhawk lifted off the Lyran homeworld, Aaron looked out at the stars stretching endlessly before him. The galaxy was vast, filled with mysteries and dangers. But now, for the first time in years, he felt a flicker of hope. Not just for himself, but for the future. With Lyra by his side, perhaps humanity and the Lyran, and all the allied species, could face the coming challenges together. That night, after the Starhawk had entered a quiet orbit above a neutral moon, Aaron and Lyra sat in the captain's cabin. Lyra perched on the edge of the table, her tiny feet barely making a sound on the surface. "I want to understand humans better," she said. "I have read your histories, your wars, your triumphs, but I want to see them firsthand. I want to understand why your species never gives up, even when all seems lost." Aaron leaned back, thinking. "You want to know why we fight? It's simple, in a way. We fight because we can. We fight because someone has to. We fight because giving up isn't an option. And we fight because we believe that even one person can make a difference." Lyra's eyes reflected a new light. "Then I understand why I chose you. You embody what humanity can be at its best. Courageous, persistent, willing to risk everything for something greater than yourself." Aaron smiled faintly. "You make it sound noble. Most days it's just exhausting." "Perhaps," Lyra said, her voice soft but certain. "But exhaustion does not make a hero any less heroic. It only proves how strong they are." For the first time in months, Aaron felt at ease. He realized that this tiny alien woman, fragile in appearance but strong in spirit, might teach him more than he could ever teach her. Together, they would face the unknown, navigating a galaxy where danger could appear at any moment. The next morning, the Starhawk set course for the Outer Rim, where intelligence reports had indicated possible Sithari activity. Aaron reviewed the maps and strategic reports, while Lyra floated over the display, pointing out patterns that even the ship's advanced AI had missed. "You see," she said, her tiny finger tracing lines on the holographic map. "They favor routes with low gravitational interference. This is typical. But they will also set traps in areas humans might not expect. If you follow these patterns, we can anticipate their movements." Aaron nodded, impressed. Not bad for someone who's never flown a human ship before. Lyra smiled. "Knowledge is not limited to size. I may be small, but my mind has been trained for centuries to understand patterns, tactics, and survival. Together, we are stronger than either of us alone." As the Starhawk disappeared into the endless darkness of space, Aaron felt a renewed sense of purpose. The war was not over, and new challenges awaited. But for the first time, he did not feel alone. At his side was a brave, clever, and determined companion, one who could change the course of battles and perhaps the fate of the galaxy itself. In that quiet moment, Captain Aaron Hale realized that this was only the beginning of a journey unlike any he had ever known. And as the stars stretched endlessly around them, he understood that the bond between a human soldier and a tiny alien woman could become a force greater than anyone had imagined. The Starhawk sailed silently through the endless black of space, its engines humming with steady precision. Captain Aaron Hale stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the holographic display of distant star systems. Beside him floated Lyra, her tiny form barely a foot above the floor, wings flickering softly as she studied the star maps. "It seems the Cytheri are gathering near the outer rim," Lyra said, pointing at a cluster of red markers. "Their fleet is smaller than expected, but they are moving fast. They may be scouting for weak points." Aaron nodded. "It's a good thing you're here. I would have missed that pattern entirely. Humans often underestimate subtle signals." Lyra smiled. "That is why we make a good team. You see possibilities I cannot, and I see details you might overlook." For the next few hours, the two worked together, tracing Cythari routes and predicting where the enemy might strike next. The crew of the Starhawk watched in fascination as the tiny Lyran woman contributed ideas with the confidence of a seasoned strategist. At first, some of the humans had been skeptical, unsure how to treat someone so small yet so capable. But as Lyra offered insight after insight, their doubts vanished. "Captain," said Lieutenant Juno, stepping forward, "I didn't believe it at first, but she's incredible. She actually improves our tactical planning." Aaron nodded. "I told you. Lyra is not just a companion, she is an ally, and she's going to help us survive." Later, when the ship's course was set for a Cytheri-controlled sector, Aaron decided to give Lyra a tour of the human ship systems. Despite its sleek design, the Starhawk was built for human use. Controls were large, panels bright and touch-responsive, designed for fingers much bigger than hers. "Watch this," Aaron said, demonstrating the ship's navigation system. He tapped coordinates and activated a three-dimensional map of the sector. Lyra floated closer, examining the display with keen eyes. "Your interface is straightforward, but humans rely heavily on physical input. We Lyran use mental commands. Still, your design is impressive. Even if you cannot manipulate it with telepathy, it is fast and efficient." Aaron chuckled. "You mean to say we're clumsy?" "I'll take that as a compliment." "Not clumsy," Lyra said, shaking her head. "Adapted to your size and abilities. Efficiency is not always about elegance. It is about what works. Humans excel at what works." The bond between them grew stronger that day. Lyra taught Aaron to notice patterns in the stars he had never considered, and he showed her the human way of thinking, direct, bold, sometimes reckless, but effective. That evening, as the Starhawk cruised through a dense asteroid field, alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed across the bridge. Aaron's instincts kicked in. "Report!" Juno tapped the sensors quickly. "Cythari frigates detected ahead. They're trying to ambush us inside the asteroid field." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Evasive maneuvers. Shields up." Lyra floated to the edge of the holographic display, eyes scanning the positions of the asteroids. "Captain," she called, "if you follow the standard human maneuver, we will lose speed and be vulnerable. Let me suggest a new route. There is a natural channel through the field that is nearly invisible on standard scans. It will allow us to evade the enemy and counterattack from behind." Aaron hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Do it. We trust you, Lyra." With a delicate touch on the navigation panel, Lyra recalculated the trajectory. Her tiny fingers moved impossibly fast, highlighting paths and angles invisible to human sensors. The Starhawk twisted and turned, narrowly avoiding collisions with massive asteroids, while the Cythari frigates followed blindly, unable to anticipate the sudden change. "Brace for attack from the rear," Lyra warned. "They are repositioning for a strike." Aaron adjusted the weapon systems. The human crew, following his commands, fired with precision. The Sithari frigates were caught off guard, their shields failing under the coordinated assault. Within moments, 2 enemy ships were disabled, and the remaining vessels retreated into the darkness. The bridge erupted with cheers, and Aran allowed himself a rare smile. He looked at Lyra, who hovered above the panel, wings quivering in what seemed to be excitement. "You see," she said, voice gentle but proud, "human courage combined with precise analysis is powerful. Together, we are stronger." Aaron nodded. "Yes, and you are a big part of that. You might be small, but you make a huge difference." The crew quickly adjusted to the reality that Lyra was not a fragile presence. They depended on her intelligence and agility. She inspected damaged sections of the ship, sometimes riding on small drones to reach areas humans could not. She even suggested modifications to the Starhawk's shield systems, allowing them to anticipate asteroid collisions more accurately. Over the next few days, Aaron and Lyra worked closely to train the crew. Humans learned to respect her strategies, and she learned to appreciate the human way of adapting under pressure. Aaron found himself explaining more than just tactics to her. He shared stories of his homeworld, of the struggles and triumphs humans had faced over centuries. Lyra listened with fascination, asking questions that showed her deep curiosity and a desire to understand human nature. One night, as the Starhawk drifted through a quiet nebula, Lyra spoke softly. "Captain Aaron, why do humans fight so hard even when the odds are against them?" Aaron leaned back in his chair, staring at the swirling colors of the nebula. "Because we can't do otherwise. We have hope. Even when the future looks bleak, we believe that one action, one person, can make a difference. That belief, it drives us." Lyra nodded slowly, wings flickering. "Then I understand why I requested this assignment. You are human, yes, but you carry that hope with you. You are not alone, and yet you act as if the fate of many rests on your shoulders. That is courage beyond size or strength." "Size or strength?" Aaron asked, raising an eyebrow. "You are big and strong. Human," she said, smiling faintly. "But I mean courage, wisdom, and the ability to inspire others. That is what matters." Aaron felt a warmth he had not experienced in years. It was not just respect, but a genuine connection forming between him and this tiny alien woman. He realized that Lyra was not merely a companion. She was someone who could challenge him, guide him, and perhaps even teach him things he had never thought possible. Days passed, and the Starhawk continued on patrol missions near the Outer Rim. During these missions, Aaron noticed a change not just in Lyra, but in his own crew. Humans who had initially been skeptical began consulting Lyra on tactical decisions. Even seasoned officers were impressed by her ability to foresee enemy movements. Aaron's respect for her grew with each passing day. One morning, the Starhawk received a distress signal from a small mining colony near a gas giant. Sithari scouts were raiding the station, and civilians were at risk. Aaron immediately called a meeting on the bridge. "Lyra," he said, "we need your input. We can't just rush in blindly." Lyra examined the incoming data. "The station has a central hub with structural weaknesses. If we can disable the main energy conduits, we can stop the Sithari without harming the civilians. I can guide you through a precise approach that minimizes risk." Aaron nodded. "We'll do it your way. Prepare a strike team." Using Lyra's guidance, the Starhawk executed the operation flawlessly. Her small size allowed her to slip through the station's ventilation systems, identifying key targets and disabling traps before the human team reached them. The Sithari were caught off guard, and the station was liberated with no casualties. As the crew celebrated their success, Aran looked at Lyra. "You were amazing," he said sincerely. "You risked yourself just to save others." She shook her head. I am small, yes, but my responsibility is great. I do what I can to ensure life is protected. That is my honor." In that moment, Aaron understood the truth. Lyra's bravery was not measured in size or strength, but in heart and wisdom. And together they were building something far stronger than any weapon or fleet: trust, respect, and an unbreakable bond. The Starhawk set course back toward friendly space, the crew now fully aligned with Lyra's insight. Aaron stood at the helm, looking at the tiny figure beside him, and realized that humanity's strength was not just in muscles or weapons, it was in courage, adaptability, and alliances forged across species. And in this vast galaxy, where darkness and danger waited at every turn, a human soldier and a tiny alien woman had begun a partnership that would change the course of history. The Starhawk glided through the void of space, its engines casting a pale glow against the dark nebula ahead. Captain Aaron Hale leaned over the bridge's holographic display, studying incoming sensor data. Red markers blinked ominously on the map. Sithari warships, moving faster than expected, with weapon signatures that none of the human fleet had ever encountered before. "They've returned," Aaron muttered, tension tightening his jaw. "And they're stronger than before." Lyra floated beside him, wings quivering softly. Her eyes reflected the swirling patterns of the nebula. "I have studied this energy before," she said. "The Sithari are using a new type of weapon. It destabilizes conventional shields and can destroy fleets with a single strike. My people observed it in ancient records, but we never anticipated seeing it again." Aaron ran a hand through his hair. "So we're not just fighting more ships. We're fighting technology we barely understand." Lyra's gaze was steady. "Exactly. And we must be careful. Any rash move could cost lives." The crew moved quickly, preparing the Starhawk for possible engagement. Every station on the ship was busy. Humans recalibrating weapons, shields, and navigation systems. Aaron and Lyra worked together to analyze the enemy fleet's formation and predict their next moves. "The Sithari will likely attempt to draw us into the nebula's dense regions," Lyra said, pointing at clusters of sensor readings. "They know human ships rely heavily on visual navigation. In low visibility, they have the advantage." Aaron nodded, eyes narrowing. "So we avoid the trap. We stay in open space as long as possible and force them to fight on our terms." As they plotted their course, a warning signal rang out. Small blips on the screen indicated a rival faction, pirates who had heard of Lyra's presence, were approaching. These opportunists believed that capturing Lyra could give them secrets capable of shifting power in the galaxy. "Captain," Juno said, her voice tense, "we have unauthorized ships approaching fast. They're not Sithari, they're pirates. And they're heading straight for Lyra." Aaron's grip tightened on the edge of the console. "They won't get her. Lyra is under my protection." Lyra hovered closer, calm but resolute. "I am small, yes, but I can move where your weapons cannot reach. We can use my size to our advantage. Let me guide you through the enemy formation." Aaron gave a short nod. "Do it. Let's show them what humans and Lyran can do together." As the Starhawk approached the pirate ships, Lyra mapped out an unconventional route. Her knowledge of small corridors and energy patterns allowed the Starhawk to weave between asteroids and debris, evading most of the enemy fire. "Focus on the smaller ships first," Lyra instructed. "They will try to block escape routes. Take them out quickly." Aaron followed her guidance, directing the crew with precision. The Starhawk fired its pulse cannons, disabling the smaller pirate vessels one by one. Lyra monitored the larger ship's power flows, signaling Aaron when shields were weakest. "Now!" she called. Aaron pressed the fire command. Energy beams struck true, disabling the lead pirate ship. The rest retreated, unwilling to risk further losses. The crew cheered, but Aaron kept his attention on the nebula ahead. "That was close," he said. "Too close. We can't let this distract us from the real threat." Lyra nodded, wings quivering slightly from the effort. "I agree. The Sithari will be here soon, and their new weapon is unlike anything humans have faced." The Starhawk reached the edge of the nebula, where visibility was poor, but sensors still functioned. Aaron and Lyra studied the readings carefully. The Sithari fleet was moving with precision, surrounding a group of neutral planets that humans had promised to protect. "We cannot allow them to reach the colonies," Aaron said firmly. "Prepare for immediate engagement." Lyra floated over the holographic display. "Captain, their weapons emit pulses at frequencies designed to disrupt human shields. But there is a weakness. My people studied the energy in the past. If we can hit the frequency at its core, we can disable the weapon temporarily." Aaron frowned. "We can't risk sending a human to infiltrate their ships. Too dangerous." "You will not need to," Lyra said. "I am small enough to slip aboard undetected. I can plant devices in the central systems that will disrupt their weapon. But I cannot do it alone. You must cover my approach and create diversions." Aaron's jaw tightened. He had faced countless dangers, but sending a tiny alien woman into enemy ships seemed extreme. Yet he knew she was capable, clever, and brave. "Then we do it together," he said. "I will create the distraction, and you complete the mission." Preparations began immediately. The Starhawk moved into the nebula, using its cloaking systems to hide from Sithari sensors. Lyra studied the internal schematics of the enemy ships, memorizing paths and identifying the most vulnerable points. "The larger ships have centralized energy cores," she explained. "If we can disable these, the weapon will fail. But I must reach the mainframe undetected. The moment I am detected, they will target me. Timing is everything." Aaron nodded. "I understand. Let's make sure you get there safely." The next hours were tense. The Starhawk dodged energy beams, weaving between massive asteroids while Aaron coordinated the crew's firepower to distract the Sithari. Lyra slipped through ventilation systems, unseen and unheard, moving with grace and precision. At one point, a Sithari patrol nearly discovered her. Lyra froze, waiting until the guards passed, and then continued on her path. Her tiny heart beat quickly, but her mind remained focused. She knew that every move mattered, that the fate of countless lives rested on her small shoulders. Meanwhile, Aaron engaged the enemy fleet in open space. He drew their attention with bold maneuvers, attacking one group while keeping the others occupied. Every decision had to be perfect. One mistake could cost both him and Lyra. Finally, Lyra reached the central system of the lead Sithari ship. Using her knowledge of Lyran technology, she quickly planted devices that emitted a counter-frequency to destabilize the Sithari weapon. Sparks danced along the consoles as the energy core began to fluctuate. "Captain," she whispered through the comlink, "the device is in place. Begin your maneuver." Aaron executed a daring attack run, firing at the ship's weak points. The Sithari weapons faltered, their energy pulses losing strength. With Lyra's intervention, the Starhawk and its allied ships had the advantage. The Sithari fleet began to retreat, unable to maintain their assault. Aaron allowed himself a moment of relief, watching the enemy vessels disappear into the darkness. As the Starhawk regrouped, Aaron activated the comlink. "Lyra, are you all right?" "I am fine," she replied, wings fluttering from exhaustion. "The mission is successful. Their weapon is disabled, for now, but we must remain vigilant. This is only the beginning." Aaron smiled faintly. "You were incredible. I don't know what I would do without you." "You would do well," Lyra said. "But together we are unstoppable. Remember, courage is not measured in size, and together our courage is multiplied." The Starhawk continued its patrol, moving cautiously through the nebula. The crew, inspired by Lyra's bravery and Aaron's leadership, worked with renewed determination. Even in the darkness of space, hope burned brightly aboard the ship. Over the next few days, Aaron and Lyra analyzed the aftermath of the battle. Reports from nearby colonies confirmed that human and allied forces had prevented widespread devastation. Lyra studied Sithari strategies, helping Aaron anticipate where they might strike next. At one point, Aaron asked her, "Lyra, do you ever fear, even a little?" She paused, floating in the low gravity of the bridge. "I do not deny fear. It is natural. But fear is a tool, not a weakness. It sharpens the mind, strengthens resolve. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite it." Aaron reflected on her words, realizing how much he had learned from her. Humans were brave, yes, but Lyra's perspective, the way she measured risks, anticipated outcomes, and used intellect over strength, was invaluable. That evening, as the Starhawk glided near a peaceful sector, Aaron and Lyra stood together on the observation deck. Stars stretched infinitely in all directions, some shining brighter than planets. Lyra hovered close to Aaron, wings reflecting starlight. "The galaxy is dangerous," she said softly. "But with you, I believe we can protect more than we thought possible." Aaron looked at her, a mixture of admiration and respect in his eyes. "And with you, I feel more prepared for what's ahead than ever before. We'll face anything together." Lyra smiled, small but confident. "Then let us continue. There are still battles to face, allies to gather, and hope to protect." As the Starhawk moved deeper into uncharted space, Aaron realized that the challenges ahead would test them like never before. Yet he also knew something vital. They were no longer alone. Humanity's courage, combined with Lyra's wisdom, could stand against even the greatest threats the galaxy could produce. And somewhere in the shadows of the nebula, the Sithari would soon discover that a human soldier and a tiny alien woman could become the galaxy's most unexpected and unstoppable force. The Starhawk sailed steadily through the outer rim of the galaxy, leaving the dark nebula behind. Captain Aaron Hale stood at the helm, eyes scanning distant star systems. The recent encounter with the Sithari had left the crew exhausted but determined. Every victory, no matter how small, had strengthened their bond with Lyra and reinforced the belief that they could stand against even the deadliest threats. Lyra hovered beside him, wings flickering softly in the low gravity. "Captain," she said, "we cannot face the Sithari alone. Their forces will grow stronger, and they will not rest until they achieve their goal. We need allies, species willing to unite for the protection of the galaxy." Aaron nodded. "I agree. But uniting species that don't trust each other won't be easy. Many are cautious because they've seen humans fail in the past. Others have conflicts among themselves. We'll have to show them that together we are stronger." Lyra's eyes sparkled with determination. "Then we shall show them. I know of several species that value knowledge, strategy, and courage. If we can convince them, we can create a force capable of confronting any threat." The first stop was the Aurelian Cluster, a group of planets known for their skilled engineers and fleet strategists. Lyra had studied them extensively, and she believed they could provide both technology and manpower. When the Starhawk arrived, Aaron addressed the Aurelian Council, explaining the threat of the Sithari and the recent weapon they had deployed. "We have witnessed their power firsthand," Aaron said. "If we act alone, we risk defeat. But if we unite, we can protect our worlds, our people, and our future." Some council members were skeptical. "Humans have led battles before," one said, "and yet many planets fell because of poor planning or rash decisions." Aaron met their gaze steadily. "Yes, we have faced failures, but we also learn. Every loss teaches us something new. And now, with the knowledge and skills of allies like Lyra, we can ensure that our actions are precise and effective. Courage alone is not enough. Strategy, wisdom, and trust will carry us forward. Lyra added softly. The Sithari are clever and ruthless, but humans, when united with others, have a unique ability to adapt, to think beyond their limitations, and to protect what matters most. Together we can succeed. Her words, though quiet, carried immense weight. The council debated long into the day, weighing the risks of forming an alliance with humans. But in the end, Aaron's honesty and Lyra's insight won them over. The Aurelians agreed to lend ships, engineers, and strategic planners to the cause. Next, the Starhawk traveled to the Valari systems, a coalition of traders and diplomats who had largely avoided conflicts in the past. Convincing them required more than strategy. It required showing that unity could preserve peace and prosperity. Aaron and Lyra met with the Valari ambassadors. The galaxy is changing, Aaron began. The Sithari are no longer a distant threat. Their new weapon can destroy entire fleets. If we wait, we will lose not only our freedom, but our homes. I ask you to stand with us, to protect what you hold dear. Lyra stepped forward, tiny but commanding. I understand that trust must be earned. But consider this. A single species, no matter how strong, cannot stand against the Sithari alone. Yet together, we can protect our people, our knowledge, and our future. Even the smallest effort, when united, can have a galaxy-wide impact. The Valari were impressed by her intelligence and courage. Many had doubted a creature so small could wield influence or authority. But Lyra's clarity and wisdom silenced skepticism. By the end of the negotiations, the Valari agreed to join the alliance, offering intelligence networks and trade routes that would allow coordinated movement across star systems. Back aboard the Starhawk, Aaron and Lyra reviewed the plans. We're making progress, Aaron said, but the Sithari won't wait for us to gather allies. They're growing stronger, faster than we expected. Lyra nodded. Then we must prepare not just for defense, but for offense. If we strike strategically, we can weaken them before they strike us. Timing is crucial. Over the next weeks, the Starhawk traveled to multiple systems, building alliances with species that had never worked together before. Aaron's courage and reputation as a soldier, combined with Lyra's knowledge and diplomacy, made a powerful team. Some species offered fleets, others provided weapons, and some contributed intelligence networks that gave the alliance a significant advantage. During one planning session, Lyra explained a concept that astonished even the most seasoned officers. The Sithari rely heavily on their energy weapon, she said. It is powerful, yes, but it has a central flaw. The frequency can be disrupted with a precise countersignal. We can construct devices capable of emitting this signal, but they must be deployed directly into their ship's cores. Aran considered this carefully. It's dangerous. Too many lives could be at risk if we fail. Lyra's voice was steady. Every action carries risk, but if we do nothing, the risk is far greater. With coordinated fleets and precise timing, we can succeed. And we must succeed. Aaron nodded, his respect for Lyra growing with every plan she proposed. Then we prepare. We'll coordinate the fleets, train the crews, and make sure everyone knows their role. And when the time comes, we strike together. The Alliance, now called the Stellar Unity Fleet, began training under Lyra's guidance and Aaron's leadership. Lyra taught them about the Sithari weapon, showing how to anticipate attacks and exploit weaknesses. Aaron led drills in coordinated fleet maneuvers, combining human tactics with the unique abilities of each allied species. As the fleets trained, Aran observed the growing camaraderie between humans and their new allies. Trust was forming, not forced, but earned. Lyra moved among the crews, offering advice, guidance, and encouragement. She demonstrated that courage and intelligence were not measured by size, and even the smallest could inspire the greatest confidence. One evening, while the Starhawk rested in orbit near a training sector, Lyra floated beside Aaron on the observation deck. "Captain," she said, "the fleet is ready. We have allies, strategies, and the knowledge to face the Sithari. But remember, no plan survives unchanged. We must remain flexible, brave, and united." Aaron gazed at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility. "I know, but for the first time, I don't feel like we're facing this alone. We have the fleet, we have allies, and most importantly, we have hope. And hope is powerful." Lyra smiled, wings reflecting the starlight. "Yes, hope is powerful, but so is action. Courage without action is only potential. Together, our courage and action will become unstoppable." The first test of the Alliance came sooner than expected. Scouts reported Sithari movements near a vulnerable planet in the Outer Rim. The Stellar Unity fleet assembled quickly, human ships and alien vessels forming a coordinated line of defense. Aaron and Lyra oversaw the operation, communicating with each allied commander to ensure precision and unity. "Remember," Lyra said, floating beside Aaron, "we cannot rely on strength alone. Timing, positioning, and intelligence are our greatest weapons. Trust each other and trust yourselves." The fleet advanced toward the Sithari ships. Aaron's pulse cannons fired first, drawing the enemy's attention. Lyra directed smaller ships through asteroid fields and hidden paths, allowing for flanking maneuvers that the Sithari did not anticipate. Aaron's heart pounded as he watched the battle unfold. Each species worked in perfect coordination, striking at weak points, protecting each other, and supporting one another's strategies. Lyra's counter-frequency devices began to disrupt the Sithari weapon systems, making their attacks less effective. Finally, Aaron saw an opening. He gave the command. "All units, focus fire on the lead Sithari ship. Timing is everything." Energy beams struck true, disabling the enemy's flagship. The remaining ships, leaderless and confused, retreated into the darkness of space. The Stellar Unity fleet cheered, celebrating the victory. But Aaron knew this was only the beginning. The Sithari would regroup, learn from their mistakes, and return stronger. He looked at Lyra, hovering beside him, small but radiant with determination. "You did it," he said quietly. "You helped make this possible." Lyra shook her head. "We did it together. You inspired the fleet, coordinated the attacks, and led with courage. I only guided them." Aaron smiled. "It doesn't matter. We make a good team." "Yes," Lyra agreed, wings flickering with faint light. "And together, we will face whatever comes next. The galaxy is vast, and danger is never far away. But with courage, unity, and trust, nothing is impossible." As the Stellar Unity fleet sailed toward new missions, Aaron and Lyra prepared for the challenges ahead. They knew the Sithari would return, but now they were stronger, not just in weapons or numbers, but in spirit, knowledge, and determination. Humanity, combined with allies from across the stars, had proven that courage, wisdom, and teamwork could overcome even the most daunting threats. And in the quiet moments aboard the Starhawk, Aaron realized that the tiny alien woman at his side was not a reward or a prize. She was a partner, a teacher, and a symbol of everything humanity could achieve when it fought for hope, unity, and the future of the galaxy. The Stellar Unity fleet gathered near the edge of the Sithari-controlled sector. Ships from countless allied species formed a massive line, engines glowing like constellations in the blackness of space. Captain Aaron Hale stood on the bridge of the Starhawk, observing the assembled forces. His jaw was tight, his eyes sharp. Every ship, every crew member, and every strategy had to succeed. The fate of countless planets rested on this battle. Lyra floated beside him, her tiny wings flickering softly. "Captain," she said, "the Sithari know we are here. They have fortified their positions, but their weapon is still weakened from our last engagement. This is our chance to end the threat before it grows stronger." Aran nodded, his hand brushing over the console. "We've trained for this. Every ally is ready. Every ship knows its role, and we have you guiding us. We can do this." Lyra's gaze met his. "Not just me, Captain. We have each other, and we have unity. That is our true strength." The first wave of Sithari ships appeared like shadows emerging from the darkness. Their energy pulses lit the void as they prepared for attack. Aaron's pulse cannons fired in response, creating a bright arc of energy that struck the lead ships. Explosions flared across the battlefield, but the Sithari formation held firm. "Maintain formation," Aaron commanded, his voice steady. "Lyra, guide the smaller ships through their blind spots." Lyra moved to the center of the Starhawk's bridge, analyzing patterns at incredible speed. "Captain, the flanks are exposed. If we can position our lightest ships there, we can encircle the lead ships and disrupt their coordination." Aaron smiled faintly. "Then that's what we'll do. All ships follow the flank maneuver. Timing is crucial." The fleet moved with precision, smaller Allied ships darting through asteroid fields and debris as Lyra had instructed. Their movements were coordinated, almost like a dance in the void, striking from unexpected angles. The Sithari struggled to adapt, their larger vessels unable to change direction quickly enough. "Captain," Lyra said, pointing at the lead Sithari vessel, "their energy core is exposed for a brief window after each pulse. If we target it now, we can disable their weapon entirely." Aaron gave the order. "Fire all units on my mark. Now!" Energy beams, missiles, and pulse cannons struck the Sithari flagship at once. Sparks danced across its hull as shields faltered, and the weapon powering the fleet's attack sputtered and failed. The enemy ships hesitated, their formation breaking apart. Seizing the opportunity, Aaron piloted the Starhawk closer, guiding the fleet through the disorganized enemy lines. Lyra activated small devices she had prepared, sending counter-frequencies that disrupted the Sithari weapon systems across multiple ships. One by one, the enemy's largest vessels faltered, their weapons useless, their shields down. The fleet pressed forward, relentless. Each Sithari ship that attempted to regroup found itself trapped in a coordinated assault. Aaron's leadership, combined with Lyra's guidance, turned the tide of the battle. Ships from multiple species worked in harmony, covering each other's weaknesses and maximizing their combined strengths. Amid the chaos, Lyra spotted a critical point. The Sithari flagship still held a central command chamber. If they could neutralize it, the remaining ships would have no guidance. "Captain," she said, voice urgent, "I can slip aboard the flagship through the ventilation system. From there, I can disable their command systems and ensure their retreat." Aaron's eyes narrowed. "It's risky, but I trust you. I'll create a diversion. We'll draw their attention away from you." Lyra nodded. "Then let us act." Using the Starhawk as bait, Aaron led a squadron of human and allied ships in a bold, high-speed maneuver toward the flagship. The Sithari fired wildly, attempting to repel the attack. Explosions erupted around them, debris flying through space. Aaron's ship weaved and dodged, drawing fire away from the smaller vessels and, most importantly, Lyra. Meanwhile, Lyra moved with unmatched precision. She slipped into the ventilation systems of the enemy flagship, avoiding detection as her tiny form navigated the corridors. Sparks from damaged circuits reflected off her delicate wings, but she pressed on, focused on reaching the central command chamber. Inside the chamber, Lyra activated her devices. The central control systems flickered and sputtered as counter-frequencies overloaded the Sithari computers. Alarms blared, but the tiny Lyran woman moved quickly, ensuring the disruption was complete. The flagship's weapons shut down entirely, and the remaining enemy ships lost coordination, retreating in confusion. Back on the Starhawk, Aaron saw the flagship's systems fail. "We did it," he whispered, relief washing over him. "All ships, maintain formation, push them back." The Stellar Unity fleet pressed their advantage, pursuing the retreating Sithari ships. None dared to fight back. They were beaten not by numbers alone, but by strategy, courage, and unity. When the battle ended, the void of space was calm once more. Wrecked ships floated silently, reminders of the conflict, while the Stellar Unity fleet regrouped. Aaron exhaled, finally allowing himself a moment of satisfaction. "Captain Aaron Hale," Lyra said, floating beside him, "the Sithari threat has been neutralized. For now. Your leadership, combined with the Alliance, has saved countless lives. You have done well." Aaron shook his head, smiling faintly. "No, you did well. I led, yes, but you guided us, saved countless ships, and turned the battle. I would have failed without you." Lyra's eyes shimmered. "We succeeded together. That is what matters. Courage is amplified when shared. Strength grows when it is united with others. Even the smallest among us can make the greatest difference." The allied species celebrated, cheering for the victory and honoring both Aaron and Lyra. Messages of gratitude and congratulations poured in from countless systems that had been threatened by the Sithari. It was a moment of triumph, not just for humanity, but for the entire galaxy. In the quiet afterward, Aaron and Lyra stood on the observation deck of the Starhawk. Stars stretched infinitely before them, calm and unyielding. The nebula, once a battlefield, now glowed softly in the distance. "You did incredible things today," Aaron said quietly. "Not just in battle, but in showing everyone what humanity and unity can achieve." Lyra hovered close, wings reflecting the starlight. "And you have shown me that courage, honor, and hope are not limited by size or species. Together we have proven that the galaxy can be protected when we work as one." Aaron's eyes softened. "I never thought a tiny alien woman could change so much. And yet here we are." "I am not the only one who changed," Lyra replied, her voice gentle. "You, Captain, have inspired more than just humans. You have inspired hope across species, united strangers, and protected countless lives. That is something even the strongest weapon cannot achieve." For the first time in years, Aaron felt completely at peace. The war, the battles, the endless struggle, it had all led to this moment. Not victory alone, but understanding. Humanity's strength was not in guns or ships, but in courage, resilience, and the ability to inspire others. The Lyran Council later formally named Lyra the Ambassador of Peace, a symbol of unity and intelligence. Aaron received honors as well, but he knew the real achievement was the partnership they had formed and the hope they had ignited in countless beings across the stars. As the Stellar Unity fleet sailed toward new missions, Aaron and Lyra continued their work, ready to face whatever challenges arose. Their bond, forged in fire and strengthened by trust, had become legendary. Humans and Lyran, together with allies from countless worlds, had shown that courage, unity, and wisdom could overcome even the greatest darkness. And as the Starhawk glided silently through the galaxy, Aaron looked at the tiny alien woman at his side. And he knew one thing for certain. Together, they could face any threat, protect countless lives, and light the stars with hope, courage, and unity. The galaxy was vast, full of danger and wonder alike, but for the first time, Captain Aaron Hale felt truly ready. With Lyra by his side, the future was no longer uncertain. It was theirs to protect, to shape, and to light with the unyielding strength of humanity and the wisdom of allies from across the stars.